Welcome, seafaring culinary lovers, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews, otherwise known as this week, our review. From the Geek Salad Podcast, I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And thank you for joining us on a Saturday night. Things get hectic in the Geek Salad households. So, thank you. We had to postpone for a few days, but we are here tonight to continue our November's conversation of the Netflix series One Piece. This week we are looking at episode 5, Eat at Barati, and episode 6, The Chef and the Choir Boy. The Chore Boy. Huh?
Baratier.
So, sorry. So last week you had said that these two were your favorite episodes. Yes. And I will agree with you on this. I felt like in terms of just overall character, I like these a lot because there was such a good they really like invested a lot into the new characters and gave us more than we had seen, in prior things where we're still trying to like suss out Luffy, and Usopp is just kind of there. They threw some backstory. Huh?
I did warn you, he's mainly relegated to comic relief.
Right. Yeah.
But
Zeph and Sanji.
Yeah.
Just honestly might be two of my favorite characters. Outside of maybe Zoro, these two might be my favorite characters in the entire series.
Yeah, their relationship. I mean, you look at you go into episode 5 and you get one aspect of the relationship. But then you get into 6 and you really get into the meat of it.
Right. And that's the thing I liked about this episode. I felt like once we got away from some of the sameness that we'd been seeing for the last few episodes, especially with certain crew members, it was nice to get a bit of a break with that, to be able to focus on other characters, focus on kind of like the end game of this season as well.
Yeah.
And it took half the season to get there, but I enjoyed this a lot. I'm always a fan for fine dining, but
yeah, and like I like how, especially when it starts off, in the aftermath of the battle with Garp.
Yeah.
When they actually get to Baratier and they get all seated, you actually have that just like little moment, like after Sanji takes their menu and then kind of does that little quasi flirting with Nami.
Yeah,
you get that little like team like back and forth where they're kind of jibing Nami, but you can tell like she's just going with it. Like, you guys are the worst, but she has that smile on her face. Like they're actually starting to gel as a crew now.
As a crew, exactly. And this is essentially the first episode is our Star Wars Cantina episode.
Yeah,
it really is. Okay, here's all these different types of species of beings in this One Piece world. But they eat normal foods, like they eat steak and they eat. They drink whiskey and wine, and
the more different it is, the more the same it is.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm noticing like in a lot of the bottles, they're like regular, like I hit the liquor store. Here's some I got you some cheap whiskey because we're gonna go through a lot of this. But yeah, overall, these two episodes were definitely a bright spot for me in this, because I really enjoyed Zeph. Once I got past what was obviously a glued-on mustache, I was very invested in him. I liked how terrifying he could be. But when we get to episode 6, and we realize the sacrifices that he made for this kid that he did not know.
Yeah. I mean, the only link they really had, like after meeting for like barely a minute or two before they're shipwrecked together, the only connection they had was they both wanted to go to the All Blue.
Yeah.
And then, but he saw that drive in Sanji, and like I can't do much more. It's your turn now.
Yeah. And it was very nice, you know, especially towards the end of the episode when Sanji does go off with the crew.
Yeah.
That it was very touching, and it looked like it was going to be one of those words were not going to be exchanged, and it ended up it ended really well. It wasn't super tearful, it wasn't super schmaltzy. And it was a nice little break in that, you know, break in the thrown in comedy, some of the gags and goofs and stuff like that I really haven't taken a shine to in this series. These two characters really have kind of turned stuff around.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that, you know, talking about characters' relationships, just Luffy and Garp's relationship wasn't just more of the, you know, disappointed grandfather.
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. I say no more.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like it, you know, for whatever backstory they wanted to show us of that, especially after the big reveal and up to the end of episode 4, that, you know, he's my grandfather. First of all, you're like, really?
Yeah, but like going back to their goodbyes there, when Sanji said, you know, I owe you my life.
Yeah,
he's not lying. You know, even like when he was actually telling the backstory to Luffy and Usopp, he's like,
yeah,
do you know what it's like to have someone lose a limb for you? And Luffy was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So
and
I mean, between the two.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we were also introduced to one of the coolest side characters that I hope makes an appearance in season 2, Mihawk. Yeah, it was nice because we had seen kind of Zoro the Invincible, so watching that, realistically also kind of knowing that that's where it was going to go.
Yeah. I mean, you saw Zoro like before, just like absolutely unbeatable, and then you get this guy who literally with like a knife this big absolutely decimates him.
Yeah, and that was really cool, and just the cold-eyedness of him, and I love that design in the character.
Yeah, kind of like a Hawkeye almost.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I also loved, I think it was Don Krieg. Was that who he's fighting on the beach?
Yeah.
That they had this really great battle, but you only hear him being dispatched over the phone.
Yeah. Apparently in the anime and then the manga, Don Krieg is a major villain for a good chunk of it.
Really?
In fact, I believe, like at the end of episode 6, you know, Arlong shows up and, you know, smacks Luffy around. Apparently in the anime and manga, that's Don Krieg's role.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, I guess they figured, you know what? All in all, he's not that big of a deal in the anime. Best to just give Arlong a bigger role and move things along.
Right. You know, because, you know, it's obvious throughout that this is simply season 1 is setting up for season 2.
Yeah.
But they're not going to run, you know, 1,000 some odd episodes like the anime did.
Yeah.
Or however many hundreds of issues the manga did.
Like that.
But I mean, the guy had a retractable friggin' shoulder cannon. I mean, that is just like, I would have liked to have seen more of that.
He fires 3 bullets at Mihawk. Mihawk just slices them all 3 in one slash.
Yeah.
It takes out a bolt.
That's like false Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
You're right.
Yeah.
It did it right though.
Well, that's true too, and it wasn't just a red herring. So you could talk about Wham and how they earned that exclamation point. Wham.
But another thing I love about Mihawk is the fact that, like, you know, like Garp calls him up and says, "This is the job I want you to do," And in the end, he's like, yeah, you know what? I kind of like it, kid. Yeah, you guys, I think, I like having wild cards around. And then when he shows up and Garp's like, well, why didn't you take him? I was like, because I didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you work according to us. Like, no, I work according to me. I work with you, but even if I didn't, I'd still be doing exactly the same damn thing.
It's the Pirates Code.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was, this is the most fun I've had in all the episodes so far. And again, I think it's because the focus has shifted. The focus is to characters that I'm finding interesting. I'm finding, like, even with, Mihawk, what I like about him too is that it's that respect. Even though, he kicks the living shit out of Zoro. That we have that we have that like Princess Bride level of respect.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, like Mihawk's like, Zoro's like, yeah, I'm done. You beat me. There's no way I can beat you. And even Mihawk's like magnificent. You actually did right. So it's like, you're gonna get a lesson from this kill. But if you survive, come see me again.
Yeah. And that was it was really interesting. Now when we move on to episode 6, we talked a little bit about the backstory of Zeph and Sanji. And I do like too the whole thing that they're arguing over like how they are seasoning their foods, which is great. And you can tell too, just with the actors, the passion that they have in that. But just the whole Nami subplot finally kind of coming to something, which I appreciated.
Yeah, I do love how these 2 episodes especially really start fleshing out more of Nami. I mean, you got her whole conversation with Zoro when they're doing the drinks back and forth.
Yeah.
And then like her confronting Luffy saying, like, you could have stopped this. Why didn't you?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not taking away his dream. And then you finally get the reveal about who she was been talking to all along.
Yeah.
Trust me, you get more of that. Obviously, you get more of that in the next episode.
Yeah. But I really appreciated these episodes. The other thing I appreciate about these episodes more than anything else, again, one of my gripes about the show is that it is slavish. It's slavishly trying to emulate a live action version of the anime, down to the art direction, down to the costumes. And sometimes that's not necessary. And I feel like these 2 episodes really, even though, I can easily see character design, like a hand-drawn character design and the size and the bulk and all that. I can easily see all of that. I felt like these 2 episodes really moved away from that. More so than, when we introduce certain things like, the Marine outfits, which is totally like, that looks great in manga and it looks great animated. It looks so dumb live action. Just time and a place, Mike. Time and a place.
Yeah, these 2 episodes, they really felt like it kind of balanced the anime aesthetic with the storytelling the best. The last 2 episodes are really, really solidly good. Especially the next episode. They do like it's a very, very fine balancing act trying to get those 2 correct. And I think these 2 episodes got it the best.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. These are the 2 best episodes of season 1.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what else we have to say about them, because this is, that's the funny thing is that these episodes run an hour long, but they can be distilled.
Yeah.
Every single episode of this show can be distilled to a 4 or 5 minute conversation without getting like super into the lore and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I gotta say, being someone that like was familiar with the anime, but I when you start getting to like Sanji and Zeph and their relationship, I had no clue what was going on.
Yeah.
So when Sanji finally comes back over the mountain, like is confronting Zeph, it's like, and sees that bag of food still completely
Yeah.
full. It's open, sees all the treasure. I'm like, oh shit, that was my oh shit moment.
Yeah.
And then you see the leg. I'm like, wow, this got a lot deeper than I thought it would be.
Right. And I liked that too. And I liked that there was a bit of a slow burn on there so you could fully understand their relationship.
Yeah, when you see him like with the moldy bread, it's like he's got nothing else to eat, so he's eating the moldy bread.
Yeah. And it's interesting too because again, it could have easily been that here's my asshole boss.
Yeah.
Who won't let me be what I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, if you just go with episode 5, that's kind of what you get. And then you get to episode 6 and like, oh, there's a reason why he's so hard on him, because he wants he's like, even when they're confronting each other after the fight, he's like, no, staying here is quitting.
Yeah,
I didn't save your life so you could just work away in a restaurant.
Yeah, I agree with that. The other thing too is that unlike say episodes 3 and 4, which are just basically the continuation of a story.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 6 complements episode 5.
Very much so.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
And it truly is the best storytelling in, what is, it's supposed to be episodic TV, but, we're kind of running by the rules of series of unfortunate events in terms of how they've chosen to tell the story of, 2-part. And this one really, they both kind of work hand in hand and had this really is the only time, and I'm even including the last, 3 and 4 in this, that these two really could have just worked as one simple 2-hour episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, other than the intro with, the conclusion of the fight with Garp, and then the ending with Arlong and Nami. If you just take those parts out, it is just one concise story right in there.
Yeah. So, overall, I enjoyed these more than anything else I've seen on the show. So thank you about that. So you had not seen these through the anime or just through the?
No, I have not watched a single episode of the anime.
Okay.
All I've done is I read the first chapter of the manga, and that was after I'd watched the show, the live action. So I'd heard about One Piece, and I knew a little bit about the characters. I'd seen the characters' designs, but I came into it almost blind. Not as blind as you, but I came in blind.
Right. And just I feel like the inclusion of Buggy is because they had a good thing with this character. And I am noticing that they're being very sparing with his usage, because I could see that getting annoying really, really fast.
Although him calling them shitiots was
yeah, that was pretty funny.
They really I get the feeling that after they cast him and they saw like his first few scenes as Buggy, like, oh, we've got to use him a little bit more.
Yeah. The whole thing though, how do you not notice an ear in the band of your hat? But yeah, some of the effects for the head were a little cringy.
Yeah.
Because you could tell, I'm wearing the chroma key bib versus this is a rubber head that is like it's just got a motor in it to make its mouth move.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, this is the highlight of the season for me so far.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I fully agree.
Yeah. So I think we've got like 2 more episodes left. So we'll finish those up next week at an earlier time, we are going to do Tuesday of next week due to Thanksgiving, because our normal Thursday won't work because I'm going to be sleeping it off.
In more ways than one.
I might just be on the turlet at that point, but that's beside the point. So yeah, we're going to do an early episode next week to conclude our look at One Piece, and then the following week we have a late Thanksgiving surprise for you of an episode we thought we did, but we didn't do.
Oh, okay. Did you
More on that coming?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I looked it up. If I'm down like this, I'm either looking at IMDb about the information we're talking about here, or I'm doing reference work. So, yeah. So anyway, we want to know, what are your thoughts on One Piece, the Netflix series? Leave a polite comment below. If you have not checked us out already, we've got the previous 2 episodes in our live category here on YouTube. You can check that out. Don't forget to give us a subscribe. Give us a big thumbs up. Helps us in the algorithm. Also, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. So Stitcher, Spotify. Damn it. I kept saying Stitcher. Stitcher doesn't exist anymore. Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, which is soon also not going to exist anymore. Or right here on YouTube.
Yes.
All going away, Mike.
Yeah, we got to start changing these things.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do when you've said the same thing for years.
But we are also on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast, and on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Threads at Geek Salad Radio. So you can check us out there. So don't forget, tune in next week when we wrap this baby up and throw it into the sea, like my past life.
Wait a second.
So anyway, folks, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We will talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.